Okay, we are live. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the show, Midwest, with me, Lovejoy. It's another installment on environmental child rights on a program that we are that is being brought to you by Bella. And on this series, we're just talking a little bit about environmental child rights, what needs to be done, how can we incapacitate children to know their environmental rights, how can we engage them in ensuring that their rights are also preserved. So today on the program, as we continue this discussion, and I think this is the last of the installments, we have invited Blessed Master is an MSU law is from MSU law right, and he's going to be talking about justiciability of the right to health environment. And we have also invited Richard Dube, who is a lawyer and a seven scholar. He's going to be talking to us about available judicial and non-judicial platforms to strengthen our accountability. But before we start the program, as very norm, we would like to encourage everybody to remain vigilant in the fight against COVID-19. It's there, it's taking lives, it's killing people. Some are sick, and it's really a sad situation. So we encourage everybody to ensure that you are protected, you do everything that's supposed to be done. I said that we have two people, but we also have another lady who's explaining to her. She is Ruth Sivanda from Zimbabwe Youth Council Provincial Manager, Province. We hope to be talking to her, but still we're having a lot of network challenges. But without wasting much time, gentlemen, welcome to the program, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Lovejoy. I'm happy to be
here. All
right,
and like earlier on, this program is brought to us by Bella. And I love the way we hope to be talking to Ruth. She has gone, and I think the network is just playing games with us. But I'll start with Blessed, right? Take us through strengthening accountability on environmental child rights in the mining sector. You've got your topic. Please do what you have.
Yes, I have. Pardon, say.
Okay, I think, can you just take us through your topic?
Okay, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Blessed Marriage from Midland State University Environmental Law Society. I'm going to talk about the justiciability of the right to a healthy environment under the topic strengthening accountability on environmental child rights in the mining sector. So basically, we're talking about what is a justiciable right to a healthy environment, and what are the importance of having that justiciable right to a healthy environment, and which laws provides for that right to a healthy environment. So basically, that is what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so
I think we're having challenges with your network, and we might have missed something.
Are you not hearing me?
Yeah, I can.
Hello,
hear you
I'm hearing
saying
you.
We might have that part of your sentence.
Let me fix it now. Are you now hearing me? Hello?
How to Richard? Are you there?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes, I'm here. Okay.
Okay, we seem to
Can
have
I
a
proceed?
bit of a challenge with our guest there. Don't know what's going on. Must be the network or something. We'll try to get back to them now. Yes.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Nube. I'm an environmental and human rights lawyer. Currently studying my LLM at the University of Sussex in UK. I have a keen interest in environmental law. I'm happy to be here and to be sharing this very important topic. Um, Today we are going to discuss about the available judicial and non-judicial um, platforms to strengthen accountability. So this topic is coming on the backdrop of mining activities that are happening in Zimbabwe and how the mining activities affect children and the youth. Um, as you might be aware, Zimbabwe is a country that is endowed with minerals, and a lot of children and youth are somehow involved in the mining sector. And so we want to look at the effects thereof, but specifically on the platforms that are available at law and also non-judicial platforms that can be used in order to ensure that they strengthen accountability. So basically, I'm going to touch on the judicial platforms and then the non-judicial platforms, and also introduce some of the issues that are pertinent to the topic at hand. The starting point, hello, the starting point is to
Yes, I can
understand.
hear you. Yes.
Yes. So the starting point is to understand that there is no group there is no one group that is more vulnerable to environmental harm than children and the youth. And specifically in Zimbabwe, we will notice that our children and the youth are vulnerable to air pollution, water pollution, explosive, toxic, and waste. If you check the special rapporteur's reports on the environment and mining, you will notice that there are four things that the special rapporteur highlighted, which are going to affect the children and youth if nothing is done to redress the challenges. So one of the issues that he made reference to is air pollution, water pollution, climate change, and chemicals. And then the last thing is toxic substance and waste. So I think this can resonate with the challenges that we have in Zimbabwe, given the fact that there are a number of multinational companies that are coming to Zimbabwe to conduct mining sector. So the challenge that mining poses to children and youth is actually a potential to affect even their adult life if it's not rectified. So, what do we mean by accountability? Um, Accountability is the cornerstone of human rights. There is no point in having human rights in the constitution that is beautifully couched when there are no mechanisms to hold the duty bearers accountable. So accountability is the ability to make certain uh, those charged with the protection and fulfilling of children and youth's rights. So it is a mechanism that is used to ensure that the jute bearers and if the jute bearers fulfill their rights, but also the the people who have rights demand accountability. So it is very important to understand that background, so that at least when we talk about the platforms that are there. So when we talk about judicial mechanisms or platforms that are there in terms of protecting and strengthening accountability, we should understand that the Constitution of Zimbabwe of 2013 made a paradigm shift in terms of protection of children's rights. So it starts from the fundamental values that are in the Constitution. That is Section 3. It speaks about respect of human rights, good governance. These are fundamental values that is a bearing on all the rights that are in the Constitution. And in actual fact, when the courts interpret children's rights, they have to take into consideration these fundamental values, because they are the pillars of the Constitution and they are the pillars of the society. The second thing that I will make reference to before I start talking about the mechanism is the fact that when you look at Section 19 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, it is a key provision as far as protection of children's rights is concerned. It talks about in all matters concerning the children, the best interest of the child are paramount. So this is a concept that was borrowed from the Convention of Children, the International Convention that governs children as rights. And what it basically means is that when whatever situation that pertains children, the duty be the state, the private sectors should take into consideration the best interest of the child, and there are certain provisions under that main provision, sections under that main provision, that then says that the state should take all measures and put in place legislation and policies that are meant to strengthen and protect children's rights. So this is a very important piece of legislation in as far as children's rights is concerned. And obviously, when we are talking about environmental rights, one cannot forget Section 73, which is a very good piece of legislation that talks about environmental rights. That is the right to environment that is clean and healthy for people's well-being. So basically, the youth also have this kind of right, which is very essential, which is very critical for the realization of environmental rights. In that Section 73, you will also notice that there is a concept of sustainable development, which basically provides that in as far as we are doing mining activities, we could then be able to also factor in issues of human rights. Then I'll just briefly go through other rights, which I think are very important to set to then be able to discuss about mechanism. So you will notice that we have Section 68 of the Constitution, which is the right to administrative justice. So administrative justice basically means that even children also, they have a right to a decision that is fair, reasonable, and proportionate, considering all the circumstances. So this is a right that creates obligation for the office bearers. That is your government, the private sectors. Whatever they do in terms of decision making, they should the decisions should be fair, reasonable, and considerate. And then you also have the right to access to information, which is enshrined in terms of Section 62 of the Constitution. So children also have the right to access information in environmental issues, especially if they are to effectively participate in decision making. And one of the fundamental issues that are critical, especially when dealing with children's issues, is the issue that children should participate in decision making. When they participate in decision making, it then allows them to hold the government and government institutions accountable. So now I'm moving on to the main issue, that is judicial and non-judicial mechanism. So when you look at Section 44 and Section 45 of the Constitution, it basically speaks about the fact that the Constitution is binding to the state, to natural and juristic persons. So what it just means is that the Constitution is binding on state. The state in this case, we are talking about the government ministries. We are talking about government officials. We are talking about state institutions. And in this case, we might be talking about institutions like the environmental management agents, might be talking about institutions like the rural district councils. These are state institutions, and the Constitution says it's binding on those institutions. And then juristic persons, we are talking about the corporations. So there are a number of companies in Zimbabwe that are currently conducting mining activities, and these companies are also bound by the provisions in the Constitution. And then the natural persons, we are talking about you and me. We also have to make sure that we respect, fulfill, and satisfy the rights. It is important to also notice that no one is above the law. There's no company that is above the law. There's no individual that is above the law. There is no government institution that is above the law. They have to abide by the legal provisions that are provided for in the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution. Basically, I will start with the non-judicial platform. So in Zimbabwe, we have what we call the Chapter 12 institution, specifically the independent commissions that are there in order to protect certain interests. So, for example, in this case, I'll talk about the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. So, Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission is an independent commission that was established to ensure that there is protection and promotion of human rights. They have the capacity to investigate, accept complaints, and write reports on human rights issues. So what it means is that in the event that there are environmental injustice in the communities that our youth and the children live in, they have the right to approach the right to approach Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission and lodge their complaints on the basis that probably the Rural District Council is not fulfilling its rights, their rights in the Constitution, and probably the Environmental Management Agent is failing to address the issues that they should address, or that there is water pollution that is being caused by this diamond mining company, or that is being caused by this gold mining company. They also have right to approach this commission in order to have their complaints registered. So what is important to notice about the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission is that the Human Rights Commission in itself also has an obligation to be monitoring human rights situations in communities. So, which basically means that they can't just wait and say that the youth and children should come and report the issues, but they should also have a function to monitor what is happening. Issues to do with child labor issues. These are they are children who are being forced or compelled, certainly by certain situations, to conduct mining activities or to be involved in mining activities. So the commission also can monitor these issues and sort to seek redress mechanism which would address this challenge. Then they can also investigate let's say, for example, issues of child exploitation. They can also investigate these issues that are happening. I'll quickly move to the gender commission. So Zimbabwe also has a gender commission. So the gender commission actually has the the obligation to look into gender issues. They can investigate, accept complaints. So specifically on this one, I will talk about the girl child among the youths and the children. I think in Zimbabwe there's been issues around child abuse and also sexual harassment, as well as sexual abuse perpetrated against some of the children in the mineral host communities. So basically, they have the capacity to also even register their issues with the gender commission, and the gender commission can take all the measures that are necessary to ensure that the perpetrators are prosecuted. So one of the things that are important about engaging the National Human Rights Independent Commission is that these independent commissions, once they've investigated an issue, they can help in terms of making sure that due measures are taken. For instance, prosecution of issues if it's a criminal offense. So it's very important to make use of these platforms. Then I'll quickly move on to parliamentary committees. So in Zimbabwe, there are several parliamentary committees that deal with the mining sectors, and also parliamentary committees that specifically deal with children and youth rights. So one of the platforms that are there for our children and youth to hold the government, to hold mining companies, to hold institutions accountable at the parliamentary committees. So the purpose of the parliament, for starters, is to hold the government and the executive accountable. So the parliament is part of the checks and balances that are put in terms of the constitution to ensure that there is no abuse of governmental power or abuse of power. So these parliamentary committees, they have an opportunity again to investigate these issues, to look at these issues and see how best they can be redressed. So the children can write a petition, or even using their representative to the parliament to have their issues redressed. They can also write submissions to the parliament on issues that are happening, and they can get help in terms of making sure that their petition is in line with parliamentary rules from public interest organization like the Zimbabwe Environmental Law Association. It has a number of lawyers that can help children in writing these petitions to the parliament in order to have their issues addressed. Then I'll quickly go to administrative mechanisms. I know.
Richard, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I know I'm running out of time, so let me just quickly.
Okay, I just want to give this time to Blessed. Okay.
All
right, it's okay. So you can pick up.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, I said, so you quickly wrap up, then we can give the time to Blessed as well.
All right. Okay. So the last thing that in terms of Nani, I will talk about the administrative mechanism. So you will notice that almost all the departments, all the institutions in Zimbabwe, or some institutions, they have a grievance department or a community liaison person. So our children and youth can also approach, let's say, for example, the environmental management agents, and get their issues addressed through a letter or even through dialogue. These are administrative mechanisms that are there. Then I'll proceed to deal with the judicial mechanism. So you will notice that in terms of the Constitution, Section 81, the High Court is the upper guardian of children. So whenever there is a violation of the rights that I made reference to, children are free, using their representative, and youth are free to approach the High Court for for a redress of the violations. So there are a number of rights upon which they can ride on in order to approach the High Court. So obviously, Section 62, Section 73. A number of all these other rights. Section 77, these are all the rights that can be used by the children and youth to approach the High Court as the upper guardian of the children. And obviously, the High Court will make sure that it will take all measures to uphold the children's rights, and the remedies that they can get include, among others, having interdicts against the mining companies or um, the government institutions. There can be compensation and they can be reprisal depending on which prayer they are seeking. And obviously, it is very important for the children and youth to understand that they have to approach institutions like Zela, which is a public interest litigation unit, to get their litigation going and approach the courts. I hope I have not taken much of your time. Thank you very much. Hi,
All
Lovejoy.
right.
I'm done.
That was quite a long and lengthy presentation, but thank you so much. Thank you so much Richard, for that
Thank you.
enlightening conversation that you're giving us. We appreciate it. And I hope those are listening can try to go back and check on the statutes that you're talking about, what the law says, what the constitution says, and they can find some help there. Before I come to you, Blessed, I just want to share something here from UNESCO. All right, so they say that the UN Human Rights Council has adopted a historic resolution to include the right to a healthy environment integral to the rights of the child, with environmental education identified as a key enabler. Also, this is a disturbing statistic here. 1.7 million children under the age of 5 die per year because of air and water pollution, exposure to toxic substances, together with other types of environmental harm. Children are the most vulnerable group to environmental harm, which also will contribute to disease, disability, and early mortality throughout their lives. It is also children who will be left with the disastrous effects of the climate crisis and biodiversity loss. This is something that we take seriously, especially in the areas talking about. I think if we can have stronger laws, and also implementation of those laws, because we can have those laws, right? But implementation as well, and also holding people to account. We've got a lot of companies that are mining, let's say in Marangi there, but are they being held to account? Are they being told what to do? Do they know what to do? I think those are some of the conversations that we need to continue. Blessed, we had lost you earlier on. Please take us through what you have for us.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Lovejoy. My apologies for that. Let
All
me
right.
go straight to my point. Uh, I'm talking about the justiciability of the right to a healthy environment. The first point to note here is for us to protect the right of a child to a healthy environment. The issue of accountability must be taken into consideration, and for us to and for that to take place, we must have a justiciable right to a healthy environment. By a justiciable right to a healthy environment, we are saying that a right to a healthy environment must be the right which is enforceable, meaning to say the right which upon its violation one can have a remedy before the courts. One can have a remedy before the courts for that violation. So if we have that right, if the right to a health environment is a justiciable right, it means that uh, every person who will be found violating that right will be held accountable for that. So this one is also a major importance. Is also a major importance of having a justiciable right to a healthy environment. And also on that aspect, um, of the importance of having a justiciable right to a healthy environment is the existence of a right to an effective remedy. What we are saying is, if we have a justiciable right, as I said earlier on, that is a right that is enforceable. It means that if your right had been violated, you are guaranteed for a remedy for that violation. So that is also in accordance with Article 8 of the Declaration of Human Rights, which guarantees for a remedy, which guarantees for an effective remedy upon the infringement of a fundamental human right. So basically, this right to a healthy environment, it is also provided for by the Constitution, and it is under the Bill of Rights, and it is a fundamental human right which must be observed by everyone. And basically, Section 44 of the Constitution, it places a duty on everyone, every person on the state, and all the state agents to respect, protect, and to respect, protect, promote, and fulfill this fundamental human right of a right to a healthy environment. So this in itself shows that if a right is a justiciable right, um, if a right is a justiciable right, that right will be fully realized by the bearers of it. So this is also another importance of having this right as a justiciable right, because we are saying that if the children are suffering this violation of their right to a healthy environment, they can easily approach a court for a redress and suing the person who violated their rights. And some of the remedies they can obtain from the court are as follows. They can be compensated by the person who caused the harm, or the person who caused the harm can face a criminal punishment. For example, he can be sentenced for a certain period, and the government can also be forced to promulgate policies or laws to make sure that there will be to make sure that infringement of the children's right to a healthy environment will not continue happening again. And also there's another importance also of having this justiciable right to a healthy environment. As you can see, as I said earlier on, that this right is an enforceable right. It means that those people, the perpetrators, would be deterred from infringing this right, knowing the consequences of doing that. As they are saying that the victims can approach the court. So there would be wrongdoers who have that fear, knowing that if they commit certain acts or omissions which are not in line with this right, or which infringe this right, they will suffer more consequences. So they will be deterred from violating that right. And
Mhm.
I think on the importance of having a justiciable right, I'm done. So now I'm going to the laws which provides for this justiciable rights. To start with is our constitution, which is the supreme law of Zimbabwe. In section 73, it is it it states clearly this right to a healthy environment, and it is also of paramount importance to note that every law, conduct, or custom which is not inconsistent with this constitution is 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 void, is now and void, so it cannot be enforced or recognized. So basically it protects this justiciable right to a healthy environment. So moving on from our constitution, we have got the Environmental Management Act, specifically Section 4 of that Act. It also provides for this right to a healthy environment. And at international level, we've got the CRC, that is the Convention on the Right of Child. That convention in Article 24, it also places an obligation on states to ensure that the children's right to a healthy environment, the environment which is free from pollution, is ensured. So we can see that they also provides for this justiciable right to a healthy environment. So basically, we're saying that if this right to a healthy environment is fully realized by children, it will reduce the following. One, it will reduce the mortality rate of children, because we are saying that the children are being offered in a healthy environment. So basically, it will reduce infection disease. It will reduce the contraction of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, which are deadly to children. So it also helps the children to grow in a healthy environment. Yeah, basically that is what I have on the laws which provides for the for the for the for the justiciable right to a healthy environment. Thank you.
Okay, Blessed, I think we are losing you
Hello.
there. You see your network is a bit sloppy.
So hey, you are not hearing me all along.
All right.
He's also done.
Yeah, I think we just lost you.
So
Blessed, are you
so
there?
can I start again? Yes, I'm hearing
All
you.
right. Because of time, right? We want to quickly wrap this up, right? But there's one thing that I'm noticing from the comments that are coming through. Zviri kunzi muri kutaura mega hanzi language
Yes.
yamunoshandisa is too deep. Hanzi language yamunoshandisa ndiye malawyer saka hatichezi kunzwisisa. So there's one thing that people need to really understand in simpler terms. Justiciable right. Hanzi ichocho in simpler terms.
Or all right. Or let me try to simplify it. If you are saying a justiciable right, we are saying that that right, you
Yes.
can have a redress, like you can approach the court for a remedy if that right, if someone violated that right. So we are basically saying that a justiciable right is a right which you can obtain a remedy from the courts upon violation of that right. I think I simplified it.
All right. But that was the simplify. And it's, let's say, mana ane
Yes.
right to food. Mana orang with right to food.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
you can approach court to rectify
Yes.
that violation.
Ye- Yes.
So,
Like what
Lovejoy,
approach I could then.
Lovejoy, when you're
Okay,
talking,
Richard, yes,
when
maybe
you're
you can
talking
help us
about,
there.
yes, when you're talking about justiciable right, we are saying this right that is provided for in the Constitution, um, it's a right that is enforceable in the courts, in the sense that, let's say, for example, a certain mining company in Chiadzo pollutes water, and that affects children.
Mm-hmm.
Children can then say, we are going to approach the court so that the court can order or give an order for the mining company to stop the mining activities because they are polluting water. Let's say, for example, children are
Mm-hmm.
saying there's this mining company that is going to come into our area, but they are mining without an environmental impact assessment, which then helps them
Yes.
to see how to mitigate impacts against the environment. Then the children have a right to say, okay, fine. The High Court is the upper guardian, like I indicate, of children. Let's approach the High Court using litigation, which is a judicial mechanism that I made reference to, and approach the court. So what it simply means is that this right is not just a right in a vacuum. It's a right that can be
Okay.
realized. Yes, it's just not an empty right.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Mhm.
I hope because this question was
Thank
coming from Liz Bumalaranda and aramba chingobvunzwa kuti saka chii angadazitaura neshow natinzwisise. But anyways, Richard, you just
Yes.
mentioned something here that to me. You said American start mining, not can that some are mining without the EIA, right?
Yes.
The environmental
Yes.
impact assessment. How
Yes.
then do they get to do
Yes.
that? How do they get to mining without that? So is the government sloppy? Is the government sleeping on duty? What's really going on?
Okay, so basically you will notice that in terms of our laws, basically section 97 to 100 of the Environmental Management Agent, there are certain projects like mining that you cannot start those mining activities without an environmental impact assessment. So what it basically means that the mining company, the respectable mining company would have obviously violated the provisions that are in the EMA Act as well as the Constitution. But also on the other part, the relevant relevant government institutions in this sense, environmental management agents would not have monitored the situation, because what they should do is to ensure that once they notice that this mining is continuing without or progressing without environmental impact assessment, they should quickly make certain orders, like to say you should quit or stop mining activities forthwith. So that situation should never happen, but it happens a lot because one way or the other, there's someone who would have not followed the law. Either
All right. Thank you so much.
part of the government or institution, or it might be on the part of the private. Obviously, the private company is to blame because they should follow the law.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that clarification. There's a question and the contribution from Ananisa Nyangani, and I want to assume it's a she. They say since 2010 we are not right of safe and clean environment here in Chiagua. What should be done to end this violation? Our efforts are fruitless. I think, Blessed, this one is for you because you are justiciable, right? I do I think.
I think with regards to that issue, the best way to go is to approach the authorities and 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 tell them the issue so that they can investigate, and after investigate, I think the litigation procedure can commence. If you have evidence that who is causing and who is responsible, I think there is nothing that can stop you from initiating the litigation process so that they can obtain their remedy from the court.
Okay, just to add on that issue, if you check,
Okay.
this is not the first time that the issues of water pollution are coming out. And actually, Zella has gone to court on these issues. I think there was a time when there was water pollution in Odds River in the Manika lands. And there are also a number of cases that Zella has impact on water pollution. So, what I would urge the community in that regard is to work with Zimbabwe Environmental Law Association, specifically their litigation unit, so that they can help them to map out a remedy. So what we expect from kind of this discussion is that the community or the youth and children should be able to understand that the companies should not be left to go scot free. They should be held
Yes.
accountable. And litigation, like my colleague indicated, is one of the ways. And with organizations like in Zimbabwe Environmental Law Association, you don't really have to pay for the legal services. They have free legal services that are offered by public interest lawyers in order to ensure that these rights are protected and realized. But obviously, what they would want is for you to bring forth evidence, and they can help you in terms of the evidence that is required in the court in order to mount a successful legal challenge.
Interesting. Speaking about companies, I know impact on this. I know we've talked about this. Even Mashure, we're talking about this. But nyaya yekuti macompanies anopinda omaina osiya maganizi osiya pane makomba vana votambira imomo, and we've got ema inenge ichiziva kuti ndozvinoitika kana kuti hamene havazivi. Tinozvishamisa sei, tingazvigadzirisa sei kuti macompanies akadaro amake sure kuti vavhara vana havazopindi panjodzi sei dzavanosangana nadzo.
Okay, so
okay,
so
you can go, Richard. It's fine.
This is an issue of rehabilitation of the environment and reclamation. So one of the things that you should know is that when before a mining company can be allowed to do mining, they should have an environmental impact assessment certificate. And in that environmental impact assessment, they lay out the plan that they have to manage the environment, to mitigate and also to reclaim and rehabilitate the environment. So in the event that they don't comply with that, then it basically means that obviously you can lodge that complaint with the environmental management agent. But also, again, the issue of litigation also comes into effect. So what should happen in order for the communities or the youth or the children to know what is the plan? They should have access to the environmental impact assessment document. So it lays out the plan that the company says, because a company cannot proceed to conduct mining unless it has laid out that plan. So it is based on that plan that they can then say, okay, you said you would do this and you have failed to comply. Because you have failed to comply with your plan, this is what we are going to do in order to have our rights realized.
Richard,
so they can
we can hardly hear you.
Yes. Hello? You can't hear me?
We can hardly hear you. Blessed, can you hear Richard?
Yes, I'm hearing him loud and clear.
All right. So yeah, um, Lovejoy, there's a point that you made, which I think I should stress, that the fact that we have these laws and that is not an end itself. These laws should be implemented, and like I indicated, the environmental management agents is the statutory body that is meant to also enforce these laws. So these are things that they should always be monitoring to ensure that these companies, they actually have an obligation or a duty in terms of the EMA Act to carry out periodical inspections. So throughout these inspections, they should be able to monitor that, okay, so this company is done with this pit, they should be closing it now so that the children are not in danger. So if they don't do that, we continue to have these problems. But also on the part of the community, they should be able also to see what is happening in the community and approach the relevant authorities or even organizations to help them in order to realize their rights. I don't know if you have heard me.
Hello?
I love Joy.
I,
Thank you so much, Richard, for that. Blessed, take us through from what I was asking.
sorry? Pardon, Miss Lovejoy. Are you hearing me?
I asked the issue of what can be done. Yes, I get you. I asked the question
Yeah.
about what can be done so that those companies that are degrading the environment, especially in those mining areas, are held to account.
Yes.
What we need to do, because a lot of them are living a lot of bad environment which are harmful to children. But we've got EMA, we've got the government, we've got the parliament. Unfortunately, we were not able to get hold of Ruth. She was supposed to take us through on the junior parliamentarians are doing. But maybe from your point of view, what should be done to hold those companies to account, especially taking into account that you've got a lot of these laws which are not being used to make sure that they are accountable.
Okay. I just want to add on what Mr. Richard alluded to earlier on. With regards to issue, I think the community has also a duty to play. They cannot just fold their hands and let that company go scot-free. But what they must do is, upon noticing that the company left their minds and rehabilitated, they must report that act as soon as possible, so that the company will be held accountable for that. Sometimes the government might not know. That is, they might not know what happened after the company left their mines, because they assume that, in terms of the EMA Act, they assume that the company, after finishing their mining activities, they rehabilitated the land. That is the assumption. So now the duty is on the community to go to the responsible authorities and report what is on the ground. That's what I think. That must be also, there is a duty also on the community. The community have a duty to protect. Remember, they have a duty the to protect the environmental right. So if they fold their hands and keep quiet about that issue, somehow they are violating they are violating the rights, because it's their duty to protect. So they must report for that, for those acts, so that the company will be held accountable for that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, we want to end here, but I just have to ask, right? We've got the law, right? We've got bodies that are supposed to be helped. The CSO, Zella, you name it. but still ngoma ndiyo mazono tanzi rege iri kuramba ichirira but tozviita sei kuti toita government, the law enforcers, the companies themselves, even ma-CSOs, kuti tishande pamwe chete, what can be done to ensure that my environment, because this is very issues, the children are the most important beings here. What do we do then? I'll start with you, Richard, as you conclude.
Okay, so what you should understand with respect to the realization of rights. So this is a continuous process. It's a continuous process. It's always work in progress. So what needs to be done is that, one, the organizations or NGOs and the communities that live in mineral host communities, they should hold the government accountable. They should play their active role as watchdogs. And then also we should have the government institutions also have willing to ensure that the laws are implemented. So we should have we should be able to work together. I think that is what is important. The duty bearers and also the office bearers and as well as the institution, we should be able to work together and continue to hold each other accountable. And one other thing that is also important is that the mining companies should also be very transparent in terms of how they are dealing with their issues, so that at least we can hold them accountable. Thank you.
All right, Blessed, the same question is
Okay. My point of view is both of us, the community in the government, is a role to play in this for us to bring the perpetrators accountable for their acts. So what must be done is the community, if they notice that there is a violation which is taking place of the child's right to a healthy environment, as soon as possible they must report that to the responsible authority, for example, to the police officers who are the law enforcers of Zimbabwe. And then they can also approach the organizations which are willing to protect the rights of people, such as Zela, who are willing to help them as long as they have evidence to show that there is a violation which is taking place. So I think both the government and the community has a role to play in protecting the children's rights to a healthy environment.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard and Blessed. And I know that Ruth is tuned in somewhere, somehow. She's probably in this. Well, thank you for showing up. Thank you in your update, but we appreciate you guys for coming through and sharing this. I think it's something that we would have wanted to continue talking, but because of time, and also we had network challenges along the way. We apologize for that. And we keep seeing your comments on on the show. Unfortunately, we can't read them all, but let me just read one or two before we close off. There is Bamigan Valerie Mzore, and he says the community do not even have hospitals and ambulances, which are more seen and helpful now. Who hear them on suing a mining company? Well, this is one person who is clearly disgruntled. And then Rachel Stoller, he said some of these issues are reported, but companies just choose not to comply. I think it goes back to what you were saying, Richard. Yes, companies are there, but nothing is being done on the ground. Okay, thank you, Blessed Richard. Richard, okay, I don't know what you were trying to say. This is Michael. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming through to the program. Richard again, he says also many companies are not spared as more youth are being eaten by dogs or dog bites or shot in the mining concession with none being held to account. This is a really serious human rights violations of environmental in top of environmental rights being abused. And this is something that we do not even want to see happening. And we urge also authorities to that have in mind that abide to do that. Appreciate and thank you so much to Zella for bringing this program to us. We believe we will continue this conversation that is Zella will continue to supply. We thank them for this.